Alright guys, so here is the Grimmspeed electronic boost controller that we're going to go ahead and work on installing here. So let's get to it. For those of you that have not been following along, in the last video we got the intake manifold on and all the electrical connections on both sides. We still do not have this upper coolant reservoir tube connected from the AOS because I want to see how it's all going to fit with the top mount and everything before I commit to that. But essentially, let's get this boost controller in place and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so we're going to go ahead and get this guy mounted up here. So the way this is going to work is these two are going to mount onto this bracket which was included with the boost controller. And then we're going to go ahead and just use the stock kind of boost control cover, so to speak, or holder to actually mount it to the car. At least that's how I'm going to do it. You can buy some of those. They're a little bit more expensive and colorful if you want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and use the stock one for now. So we'll get these going. I'm not sure what size Allens these are, but they're pretty darn small. I did not have a hex wrench that would even fit this, so we'll get these nice and snug. And then this guy is going to sit like this. So we're going to go ahead and bolt him up from the inner portion. And actually the kit, now that I see, did not come with a screw for that, or a bolt for that. So let's see if I have one. This is my bag for parts that went with the intake manifold disassembly. So it looks like this is the right size. I just grabbed one of the 10mm ones and it looks right. So we'll go ahead and use that. So this is going to go like this. So we're going to turn this guy, get this guy started into here. Pretty easy. And this is a 10. We'll just grab a 10mm wrench and just tighten that guy down. Okay, so I drew a little bit of a schematic. Ignore my terribly ugly handwriting. But basically, this is going to go to the inlet, this is going to go to the wastegate, and then this guy is going to go to the turbo. So the only issue I'm seeing here is that this is the line that came with it, and this is kind of a small, small gauge tubing here, as you can see. I did, for my other car, buy some of these same, I don't know if they're MPT, but with kind of a wider nipple, so that I could use some bigger tubing. But I'm not going to be able to get away with that because for one thing, I don't have the pieces to do that. And for another thing, if you look over here, I don't really understand why this is the case, but the wastegate is a larger diameter than the turbo. So I'm not quite sure why that is, but basically we're just going to use the same tubing for all of it because that's kind of what we're stuck doing in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, I'll go ahead and bring this over here, but let me show you how this mounts onto the engine first. So it's going to be this guy right here and this guy right here. And part of the reason I'm wanting to do this now is because I'm eager to attempt installation of this top mount because I feel like there might be some fitment issues. And I want to get all these lines ran so that I don't have to go back and revisit that. I'm going to go ahead and run this guy underneath. This is the connector. I've got the other connector right here from Subaru from the car, which it just clips right on, which is pretty cool. And then this guy sits right in there like that. And we'll go ahead and get these guys screwed back in here. So this is a 10 millimeter. This is a 12 millimeter. And I'm going to leave this loose actually because some of these, this one in the back might be kind of hard to connect. So that one goes to the wastegate. So maybe I'll do that one first. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and run one of these tubes from this guy here down to the wastegate. So I'm going to go ahead and I probably should have actually started this first, but I'm just going to unscrew these guys really quick and have those in my pocket. And then I'm going to start by fishing this guy over onto this, which is a little tricky just because this tubing is a little on the smaller side, but it looks like it is going to work for me. And this is the tubing that came with it, so I think it should work okay. And then this one is going to end up on the back side of here, so I just need to figure out kind of how I want to route it. I definitely don't want to kink it off. Let's see what the best routing is going to be for this guy. I think what I'll do is just kind of follow I'll kind of zip tie this up, but I think I'm going to go ahead and pop it into there because it looks like that fits pretty well and keeps it in a pretty neutral position. And then we're going to bring it under here and into here, and it looks like it'll actually fit pretty well. So I'm going to grab these hose cutters that I have, and I'm going to want to cut it probably right about where my fingers are. I'll go maybe just a pinch longer. We'll go ahead and cut that. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm just going to use these small zip ties to install these peeps. And I'm going to need to be able to cut them, and I'm going to want to pull them pretty tight, so I'm going to grab this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this guy around here and push him on, and he pushes on just fine. And then I'm going to grab the zip tie. And obviously I'm using a small zip tie here because I think it'll probably fit the best. Okay, and I'll go ahead and cut the zip tie. Okay, so we've got this bottom one going to the wastegate. Okay, so now push this guy back in. We'll mount this guy back up. What I don't want to do is allow that tube to kink. So just keep that in mind while you're working on this. And then we'll go ahead and get this guy back in here. And the same with this guy. Get this guy back. And that guy still looks good. He's not kinked. This guy I'll just zip tie off as well. And then I'm just gonna grab, I need a 12 and a 10 just to tighten these guys. So here's my 12. Boom. And then here's a 10. Yeah, okay, perfect. So we are good there. Okay, so the first one is installed. So the second one, which is going to go to the turbo, is going to be this one on the side right here. Or the front, I guess you could call it. So we're going to grab our tubing again. And let's start at the turbo, because that's kind of the harder place to reach. And hopefully you guys can see that little tube right there. So we're going to go ahead and push this guy on. Okay, and he pushed on really without any issue. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to throw a zip tie on there. This is kind of a tight little area. So I'm going to kind of start the zip tie up here and then slide it down. And sometimes you have to kind of just do this stuff by feel. Okay, so I think I'm on there pretty well. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and cut the zip tie. And then I'm just gonna, I want to look a little bit better here with my flashlight just to make sure that is indeed on correctly. Okay, yep, so that looks good. Okay, so that looks good. This one looks good, but we actually need to throw a zip tie on this wastegate as well. Although I really doubt there's any way in heck that's coming off, but we'll do things the right way and play it safe here. Okay. So that looks good. So now we need to route this guy. Like I said, he's going to go from the turbo just straight to here. So this is a pretty straightforward. I don't want to make it too abrupt of a turn, because like I said, I do not want this guy to bend or kink. I think this is probably about right. Let's see how that looks. Perfect. So that looks excellent. And I could even zip tie that over there probably just to get that out of the way. Grab some more of these baby zip ties. And we'll go ahead and throw one on this guy right here. I like to pull them pretty tight. You're not really going to do any damage, so just to keep it on. Okay, and then there's one more, which is going to be the top one. And this is going to circle around over here to the inlet. So we're going to grab our tubing once more. We're going to hit this one first because it's a little bit harder to reach. We're going to throw a zip tie on that so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, and then we're just going to pull it a little bit tighter. Okay. Cut that guy off. Perfect. Okay, and then the other end of this guy is going to come here to the inlet. So I'll grab my cutters. So I'll probably just route this guy alongside the other guy. That looks perfect actually, and I'll just go ahead and cut it right about here. I'll just have to keep in mind there will be probably the power steering, and the expansion tank is going to kind of be right in that area as well. Probably mainly the expansion tank. But if we have to move something or replace a tube, that's fine. We have extra anyway, so it's not the end of the world. I just kind of want to get this stuff started. Okay, and then we need to press this guy over here. I actually have bigger tubing, but the bigger tubing isn't going to work with these connectors, so I'm just going to try it like this, and I don't think it's going to cause any issues. My thought process is that I want all of the tubes to be the same diameter, and the only way to do that is by making them small, because we're restricted by this turbo having that piece of small diameter hose. Alright, we're almost done all the way, just so that it looks decent. Okay, so that's pretty good. So now we will throw a final zip tie on that guy. And then we are looking good. Perfect, okay, and then we're just going to follow the schematic one more time to make sure it's correct. So the top should go to the inlet, which it does. The front should go to the turbo, which it does. And then the bottom should go to the wastegate, which it does. Okay, so we're looking good here. So we have essentially installed the electronic boost controller, and it's plugged in, so we're looking good. Like I said, I'll go ahead and zip tie this guy off. I want to plug in this expansion tank first, and then kind of get that stuff zip tied off. While we are at it, let's go ahead and install our vacuum line plugs. So we've got one down here that we need to plug, and then another one here that we have to plug. So I have a plug kit here, and I'm not quite sure what size this is going to require, but that one actually looks like it fits it perfect. So these kits are pretty nice. You can just get these, like, I got this one on Amazon. It was just a few bucks. It was like 10 bucks maybe. But this is nice for boost leak testing as well. That was actually the main reason that I bought it originally, but ended up keeping it, and you know, it's useful for stuff like this as well. So this guy, I'm just gonna throw 2 zip ties on this guy just because I figure why not. It's easy to fit 2 on here. So we'll do those guys. Because we're not going to be using this stuff. It was all deleted, as you can see in the previous videos. If you need more information on that, when I talk about the evap and the PCV and the secondary air pump deletes. Okay, so that guy is done, and then we're going to hit this little guy over here on the end. And I'm not sure even if the littlest tubing that I have here is going to be small enough for this guy. Actually, it might be. Let's take a look. We're going to get the tape off here. And nope, it's not quite small enough, to be honest. I have some other ones actually that aren't really much smaller. So I may have to get my hands on one that's small enough for this. In a pinch, you can also use tube and then kind of just plug up the tube. But that's really, you know, not the ideal way to go, obviously. But I'll end up having to find the correct size plug for that guy. And then the other vacuum line that I do want to run is going to go from the fuel pressure regulator here and then tee into this guy on the bypass valve. So this is what Dom, the guy from Get a Dom Tune, recommended to do it this way and to plug these two. He said that these aren't proper vacuum to this, so he didn't recommend running this directly over to here, which was my thought. So instead he suggested to just go ahead and tee it into here. So that's what we're gonna do. So we do have a little T here. I'm just not quite sure on the diameters. Let's see what happens if we unplug this guy, what the diameter actually looks like. That's actually correct, so that'll work for that one. And then what about for the other one, because we obviously have a size difference for this as well. I think I can probably kind of do the same thing that I did with the other one. So I think I can go ahead and push this guy into here. It would be nice to get this over with before I install that top mount. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that looks like it's good. So then what I can do is I can run this to the fuel pressure regulator. And then for this guy, I can kind of just cut this guy and use half and half maybe. Let's try that. Let's see what happens if we do that. I'm gonna cut it like right here. Hopefully I don't regret this. Okay, so we got that guy there. So this is gonna be the vacuum that basically provides, wow, this is a pretty small tube actually. These tubes have about the same diameter, same inner diameter, which is actually pretty surprising. I'm having trouble even getting this guy on here, which surprises me. Should be able to get it though. It's not, I mean, it's pretty tight, but it's not insane. Okay, so that looks good. And then this guy should be good. Here, same thing. And then this guy can go here. Boom. And this is going to essentially provide vacuum to both of these. I'm going to hold off on this just for now because I'm not sure exactly where this thing sits. And then what I will do is I'll end up connecting that over to that guy. I'll go ahead and zip tie these guys up as well. So really we'll zip tie these up. Once the top mount's in, we can route this guy, get him zip tied up. Just need to find a plug for this little guy here, which I will find or purchase if I have to. And then other than that, I think I'm ready to try and get this top mount in place. So I think that's going to be kind of the next quick video here. Well, hopefully it'll be quick, is trying to get the top mount in place. It's going to be super tight because of essentially this AOS. So I'm kind of anticipating this is not going to be fun. And this is a different turbo as well. It sits differently. It seems to sit more towards the front of the engine. So we're gonna give this a shot and see what happens in the next video.